Is this number 16? I never know.
This is 15.
15. Okay.
I'm just looking at the Anchor site now. Episodes. Yeah, this is 15. Yeah. Yeah, the last one was 14. What does Trey's kindness have to do with it? What Trey's kindness got to do with it? Got to do with it. When you sent me that title, I was like, oh, God, it's stuck in my head now.
Yeah, I know. And then you did it to me, and I was like, oh, shit.
Yep.
All right, man.
You
Ready
know
when
it's a
you
good
are.
song.
We're recording.
All right. Cool. All right, here we go. Another week. Been a long time. Episode 15 of Ticket to Gamehendge. I missed you, man. How you doing?
I know. I missed you, too. I think, okay. Big announcement, because we're probably going to talk about it on the show. It's probably going to be mentioned that due to work, you have not been able to record. So we need to let everyone know what you do. You are a secret agent.
Yeah, that's right. I got called away to Minsk, and I had to do some black ops. No, I don't think it's a major secret that.
Why Minsk? Of all the Eastern European cities, you chose Minsk.
That's because I love Seinfeld, and I guess it's just buried in there. When I think of, I don't know, it was just a quick thought. I was thinking of Russia. Is Minsk in Russia? It is, right?
Minsk is the capital of. It's one of the former Soviet countries, like Estonia, I think.
Oh,
let me see.
Okay.
As you're chatting, I will because I used to know all this geography from soccer, right? Like when Croatia would play.
Right.
Belarus. I knew it was one of them.
Belarus.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah. So I don't think it's a secret to anybody that follows us. I'm a store manager. I won't say which store, but we had a fire and millions of dollars in damage at the store, and I've been super, super busy over the past few weeks trying to sort of rebuild and get the store back open again, and everything's gone well there. The thing that I'll say, although I've had some incredibly long days and stressful times, the fact that I've always been able to turn on Phish and listen to them on the way home,
so true,
it's one of those things every day that I have to look forward to. I get in the car, I leave it behind, and at least for an hour while I'm on the road and I can't take phone calls, I could, but I choose not to. Can always use the excuse that I'm driving. Yeah, that's my Phish time. And that over the past 3 weeks, I wouldn't say it's been this thing that's gotten me through, but it's definitely been a consistent thing every day that's brought a lot of, joy to my life. So that's been really, really good. But also the absence from talking with you has made it grow fonder. I really, really like sitting down and talking about Phish and what's going on in the Fishdom.
Just to echo that. So same thing with me because, so the bus schedule, the staff in our office takes the bus to work. And because it's been all over the place and she can't get to work on time, I've been driving her home and Rochelle's been driving her home. And then on the way from her house to our house, it's Phish time, man. You just put it on and it's the best. It's awesome.
Yeah, I love how you've been commenting a lot about how it's taken a long time, but your wife is at the stage where she loves Phish. And I'm so jealous from that point of view. Look, awesome, I love my wife and it's great, but that's one thing that I've been working on. And I'm curious to get, you spoke a few episodes ago about your master plan with me to get me back on the train. And you say that you told me that there's always a master plan. So clearly you had one for Rochelle. At some point, I think maybe we'll get her on and we'll talk about that plan and see how devious you really, really were in your, what do you call your room? Something of
the evil scheme hatchery, man.
Evil scheme hatchery. I don't know how evil it is when it comes to getting your friends into Phish or getting people into Phish.
Well, people online seem to think differently about that.
Yeah, I was just going to say, so let's talk about that. I mean, we have a lot to catch up on. There's been a lot of activity. We've missed 3 Beacon Jams. Not missed them, but we haven't had the opportunity to really talk about them. I know we both watched them and listened to them many times. We also had the dinner and a movie from Halloween that we're going to chat a little bit about. Before that, let's talk about what you put out there and the post you put and the reaction that you got from the fans. We love how dedicated the fans are, how loyal they are, how much they care. But we're also a pretty interesting group and very territorial over certain things, right? So what did you put out there? What kind of reaction did you get?
Yeah, so I mean, again, the secret mission here is to, for lack of better words, I want to sell people on my favorite band. Like it's and now, I think this is the root of the issue here is this belief system that we have around selling, right? So for us, selling is like, zero sum. If I sell you, that means that I'm winning. I'm taking this from you. Versus, to me, selling is I'm working in your best interest. I'm trying to get you on board with something that is beneficial to you and will make your life better and easier, right? So to me,
Right.
that is Phish for various reasons. For the fact that, like, you know, what you just said, I would love it if my wife loved Phish. I'm like, okay, well, let's work on, you know, selling your wife Phish. So this week I posted, and I fully agree, and I'm actually looking for some pushback on this from you. I think it would be fun to talk about. I fully agree. I could have used better words, right? But the technique, it's called a labeling technique, and I actually use this on my wife, like to get her to give Phish a try. And the labeling technique is you assign a value system or belief to somebody, and then you make a comment, you know, based on that value system belief to get them to at least give something a shot. Right? So the example that I used, and it was in Michael Cialdini's book called Yes, is the Luke Skywalker one. Oh, I know there's good still in you, right? And people responded, oh my God, this is sleazy. Sounds like MLM stuff. The one that I used on my wife, and here's why, like, this stuff is not to be translated in writing. It's much better in person. I'm like, oh, hey, Rochelle, you know, dance music, you like the part in dance music where there's like a lot of tension, and then there's like a big release and the beat comes in and things start going crazy. Phish does that with guitars. It's pretty cool. You should check it out.
Right. Yeah. So I think I have your post here. I'm gonna read it real quick, and then I'll kind of talk about my thoughts.
And I get it.
After reading through the comments.
Before you read it, I get it. The words could have been better, right? There's words like trick, like Jedi mind trick. You know, those are words that are triggering and that people don't respond to the best. So I understand that I could have, as soon as that first gentleman commented, I was like, I could have used better words, because those are sensitive. That's sensitive language nowadays. But it was more the principle that I was going after versus the actual technical lingo, you know?
Right. And I think it's, you know, as adults, you kind of get to a point where you don't like things being pushed on you. You reach a point in your life where you make your own decisions and you decide, hey, I don't have to do anything that I don't want to have to do.
I agree.
And I think there's a varying level of how accepting people are of other people's opinions, whatever it might be. But let's back up a step. I'll just read this real quick. Getting your friends into Phish, part 15, the Jedi mind trick. And I think people took this a little bit too literally too. I've used this Luke Skywalker labeling technique with some success to open the door to have people check out Phish and their music. Some context. The scene in Return of the Jedi, when Luke turns himself in and reveals his plan to Darth Vader, he wants to turn Vader back to the good side. He says, I know there's still good in you. There's good in you. I can sense it. That's called the labeling technique. When you assign a belief, trait, or attitude to a person, then make a request on that label. The one I've been using that's helped successfully open the door to Phish is, and I wish I had a larger sample size, so please try this and let me know. I know you're a fan of good music, and since fans of good music like Phish, you should check it out. And I've made my song recommendations. At the very least, it's helped give the boys a fair, unbiased listen, and some people, now months later, are finally starting to come around. And then that was met with, no, if somebody did that to me, I'd be pissed off and I would boomerang it right back to them. I think a big thing that was missed in this is the element of the relationship you already have with the person that you're
100%.
having this conversation with.
100%.
I think a lot of people read that thinking of you, the person that they only see a name on the screen and they don't know you, and a stranger coming to them and saying that and reacting that way. I wonder if you know, people more influential in their lives and that sort of thing, if they were having that discussion, if it would have made a bit of a difference, perhaps. That's a thought that I had.
People have used, but here's the thing. People have, like, this is not rocket science. Every human being at one point in their life has used something similar to that to be like, hey, you're this, you should check out this.
Mm-hmm. You like this movie, you'll like this movie. You like this book, you like that book. We do it
to our kids probably multiple times a day.
Right. So why do you think people got their backs up so much about this? Because it is a common thing, right? We influence one another. Your friends and family shape, everything from the shows you listen to, the clothes you wear, the music that you like, until you get to a point where you do that all on your own. Why do you think people got so guarded about it?
Multiple things. You know, and again, I'm not saying like these people are foolish. I'm trying to understand. You brought up a really good one. Is the context of the relationship with which you're having this conversation is dropped. Right? This isn't like a random person coming up to you and trying to be, you know, and making it sound ridiculous. This is a person, and I could have picked better words, I fully admit, but this is a person who knows you. right? Who knows what you're into, who knows what you like, who knows how you associate and how you label and what you think of yourself. So they're trying to tie in your own belief, right, with what they're trying to introduce to you. Mm-hmm. Right? The other one is, you know, I think people miss the principle, and they got too hung up on the literal language and the words being used. Mm-hmm. You know, which again could have been better, but hey, man, all good.
Yeah. Like I'm reading this one here. So this is a response. Since you like the Grateful Dead, I think you'll like Phish. Makes perfect sense. People that like the Grateful Dead like Phish, so you will too. Immediately weird and manipulative, in my opinion. Not to mention, plenty of Deadheads hate Phish. I know you're a fan of good music, and since fans of good music like Phish, you should check it out. Insulting and condescending. I don't think I would, like, again, if a stranger, like if I was at a party and music was playing and I'm bopping my head to whatever's on, and then a stranger came up to me and framed that up, sure. I'd go, well, who are you, bud? Like, get out of here. But again, you know, if it's somebody that you're with, that you're choosing to spend time with, you value their opinions.
Well, I don't know, man. I'm gonna play devil's advocate there. See, I disagree. If we're bobbing our heads, okay, let's say, so we're gonna go now. We're up at our buddy's cottage, like you're scheming, and he invites one of his buddies, right? And now Phish is on, and they're like, oh yeah, cool. You guys like Phish? You should check out Mo, or you should check out the string cheese. Like, I don't know, man. That sounds like the most, you know, like he's not going to use cheesy language like that. Oh, you guys like jam bands? You should check out this jam band.
Right.
With that tone of voice.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting too. And I think any time you, specifically with Phish fans, there's a lot of strong opinions out there. They're very loyal, and they hold their opinions about Phish very, very closely. And I think a lot of people are kind of the opposite in us, in that they like being the only ones that love the band. I think there's an element of Phish where you're part of a huge club, yet you very much can feel alone. And I feel very similar to being a Formula One fan, right? Like, it's my favorite sport, yet I don't have many people in my life immediately that I can chat about it with. There's little pockets, and there's the odd person. And I think Phish is similar that way. And I think there's a certain group of the population that likes being the lone wolf, likes being the only one that's into something, because it gets them off thinking. It gives them an air of superiority, I think, over other people. And I'll bet you there are a ton of Phish fans that are like that aren't actively trying to get other people to like them. They like being the only one in their circle that loves them and being the unique person.
Do you know, have you ever heard of I agree. Have you ever heard of the author called Robert Greene?
Robert Greene?
Yeah. So
sounds made up. I don't believe you.
You should check out. He wrote a book. He wrote a bunch of books. One of them is on human behavior. So like he studied just human behavior, and one of the biggest takeaways I had from that book was, you know, this idea that we think we're different, right? We think that, like, because we're fans of Phish, that we're somehow different than fans of other, like, really cult, cliquey things, but we're not. We're all the same. So yes, absolutely, there's people who want to hold on to the belief that, you know, they're unique and different because they like Phish. And maybe in that, like, the fact that that specific thing you like this band makes you unique and different, but make no mistake, we're just like everybody else when it comes to these things. There's other things that people like Formula One. There's people who behave exactly like Phish fans, but it's for Formula One.
Yeah. I wonder too, obviously I don't think it's ever going to happen, based on, if it hasn't happened by now, it's not going to happen. But let's just say all of a sudden 2021 goes back to normal, and Phish is the band that's nominated for every Grammy, and they win the awards. They're on the cover of all the magazines, like pop stars are. Just try to imagine that world. And obviously, again, that moment has passed. But if that were to happen all of a sudden next year, and that were to build, how many people do you think would get off the train and bail and revolt? Because, cool, I know we've talked about Phish selling out, but how many people do you think would all of a sudden U-turn, go, they're too big, everybody knows them, because they're going to lose that sense of, I'm the only one in the group who knows and loves Phish?
Well, you know the answer to that, and now we're probably only speaking to one person who's left listening to us after all this. Look at, even within the community right now, there's people who are hardcore 1.0ers. They won't listen to anything beyond that. There's people who jumped ship after they left Nectars. Remember on the podcast, right? Trey talks about there was like a girl crying on her car that because they left Nectars, they're on to like the next thing. Now they're too big.
Yeah, kind of crazy to think.
Right?
Yeah, yeah. All fun to talk about, all ifs and buts and candies and nuts.
For sure, man. For sure.
Yeah, but again, I love it when we kind of poke at other fans and get some responses out of them. I love conflict. I love controversy. I think good things come from that. So I think we need to do more of that and keep stirring the pot a little bit.
I like. Oh, buddy. The developer of chiropractic said conflicts clarify, man. So let's get it out in the open, right?
Yeah, just makes me think too. So I obviously have watched the last 3 Beacon Jams, and I was just thinking about the one that was on the other night, which coincidentally was on your birthday. Happy belated birthday! Your birthday is the day after Tom Marshall's birthday, who was in attendance this past Friday, and I think definitely had a big influence on the set list. But anyway, when Farmhouse started playing, I was watching the comments on the right-hand side of the screen. And a ton of comments about bathroom breaks, and it reminded me of that post I put out about your bathroom break songs and how controversial that was. Yet people are still really, really vocal, and even more. Please no, time turns elastics. Still getting posted on there. If we can, why don't we rewind back a little bit and kind of get caught up on some of the Beacon Jam stuff. Last show, or the first show after our last chat, was October 30th. The day before Halloween. I think it's definitely been made evident that the players that Trey has been playing with have been pretty consistent. It's varied up a little bit. On the 6th, he had Fishman join him on drums. Had a bigger string section, but Rescue Squad has been really, really consistent. Ciro's been there every week. Tansky on the piano here and there. Yep. Ray, I forget his last name, on the keys. What's the bass player's name? The dude that just sits there and barely moves.
Tony Markellis, man.
He's like a statue. No head bopping, no nothing. Just sitting there, almost like a classical bass player, not even moving. Fun.
You're used to the cactus. That's why.
The cactus? Is that what people call Gordon?
Yeah, that's what people call Mike.
Why?
What
am I missing there?
I don't know why, but probably because he looks like a cactus.
I guess he's pretty.
Picture like
pretty rooted.
Picture like that classic cartoon cactus from Bugs Bunny, and then think of Mike standing there.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay, I'll have to think of that. So the show from October 30th, really, really good set, right? A bit of a mix of some Phish and some Tab, a little bit of everything on there. A nice little Halloween shout out to the boys with "Say It to Me, Santos," which Trey called out. I think I don't know about you, but over the past 3 weeks, I've really enjoyed how much more chatter and banter and talking there's been.
That's my favorite part, man.
Yeah, for a guy that I think has been, doesn't grant a lot of interviews, relatively private, has really opened up about his personal struggles with addiction and everything that he went through. Even in the last one, more and more of that are coming out, and you can see how special these shows have been to Trey. Like he said on the last one, it's the best thing that he's ever done, and it's obviously tough to compare it to everything else that Phish has done, but that's where he's at. He's living in the now, and he's extremely happy to be doing it. So. Yeah, I thought October 30th was really, really good. I'm just looking at the set here. I'm pulling out some of the highlights. Gaiudi with the Rescue Squad was awesome. My friend, although it was short, that was really, really cool. Really, really like that. Gumbo is always great. Breath and Burning is one that has been growing on me over the past year.
Me too. I didn't like it. I didn't like that song when I first heard it. I wasn't crazy about it. But now it's good.
Breath and Burning. And then Quantigy was the first time played in, I want to say, 18 or 19 years from what I remember reading. And that was early on in the set, but really, really good. Really like that. And Bug. Oh, man, Bug. Don't get me started on Bug.
Great song.
It doesn't matter. So good. Then November 6th, I was totally wondering if they were going to do this, and he pulled it off. Ghosts of the Forest. We talked about that album. So good. That's been growing on me ever since it came out. And the more I listen to those songs, the better they get.
I think that's my favorite. I think that's my favorite Trey album.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, I put out there the Side Projects album, but that would include Oysterhead and some other things. But in terms of Trey solo, yeah, you might be right. You might be right.
I haven't given them, as much of a listening to as I would like the Phish stuff, but from my limited listening, I think that one was my favorite.
Yeah, when you look at some of the songs on there, So Drift While You're Sleeping, Ghost of the Forest, obviously. About to Run. Oh, man. I love that song. Ruby Waves, we know, has gotten really, really popular. Life Beyond a Dream. Yeah, I mean, you can go on and on. It's just, again, it's great to see the flexibility, the different arrangements, the surprises that are coming. Although we're not exactly there with the jams compared to Phish, of course. So that's a whole other level of jamming. Yeah, the band does sound better every week.
They sound awesome. I mean, they sound awesome. And then you pull, You Enjoy Myself with Strings, and you're just like, right?
So I'll tell you a quick little story. So that was obviously from this past week on the 13th. And the way it tends to go with bedtime with our girls, by the time I leave Grace's room, I'm usually out of there like 8:03, 8:04, 8:05. And that was a night where things were kind of delayed and kind of we're getting going. And I peeked at my phone right around 8:01 to see what was starting, but we weren't done bedtime yet. And they had started Yam. And I was just like, no, in a good way. I wanted to hear it, but I couldn't. So I'm sitting there like trying to rush through bedtime, reading the story as fast as I can because I wanted to get down and watch it, right? And I got there right around the part where the lyrics come in and they did the woman instead of boy.
Yep.
But they shot that kind of cool, right? Because at first it was just Trey and the strings and Tansky playing. And then when the tension built, they kind of panned around the camera in behind. And then you saw, oh God, full band there, drums, the singers, everything. And the song kind of kicked it up to another level.
You know what? Again, I think this has been the biggest takeaway. It's been such a learning experience for me watching Trey operate because like the level of depth and thinking, because that was all arranged, right? So like,
yes,
these are all compositions for him. Like he's composing this music with new arrangements and like not just thinking about the notes that are going to be played and how it's all going to sound together, but like what's the visual experience going to be like and how are we going to do this and how is the background going to look and like the amount of thought that this man puts into this stuff is absolutely incredible.
Yeah, completely cares about the experience and how it's seen, and we've seen that in a few episodes. When the Rescue Squad first showed up, they were off camera, and then all of a sudden, Trey's playing the acoustic song by himself, and they pan out, and then boom, they're there. And even I forget which week it was. I think it was the 30th when they opened with the video of him coming down from MSG, and he had all the long hair as if he's Rumpelstiltskin and stuck up there. Just taking the time to shoot those types of things. Even the fact that he followed up with that cat video the following day for Mango Hands. Did you see that at all on Saturday?
I don't think I did. I think I need to go back and watch that.
So Friday night, I forget what song it was in between, but a user from Twitch named Mango Hands said that they wanted to see more pictures of Trey's cat. Mm-hmm. And then Trey was talking about it and said, you know what, for you Mango Hands, I'm going to make a video montage tomorrow with a song for you dedicated to Mango Hands about his cat. And sure enough, Saturday morning it was there. Beast. It was up. Just the connection. And I find it, although it's such a little thing, I'm still getting used to the silence after every song. But at the end of every song, you hear at a Trey, like a deep sigh. And then he's looking at the comments and he's like a little kid. He's so appreciative of any sort of good comment, any donation. If it's $20, $30, he's just super, super happy to be doing it. And that makes me happy. You see a lot of comments about that on the side for Twitch too, just about how happy Trey is.
But it's interesting, right? Because I think if you were to ask most musicians or just, anybody that's like in an artist of any kind, they're building a following, they're playing music, would you want to have the type of fans that Phish has? Everybody would say yes, 100% of the time, because now you have a small group of people who, do crazy shit like record podcasts about you and create fan art about you. Like people are devoted and they're loyal, like we were talking to before. And it's interesting. This is a blueprint that this man is giving people for free on how to create this stuff. And I'm willing to bet that everybody wants fans like Phish, but nobody wants to do the work to get fans like Phish. Nobody's going to pick out one user and be like, hey, Hot Rod 6969, you wanted this video, I'm going to create it for you. Like, that's incredible when you think about it.
Yeah. Yeah, it kind of reminds me of what Billy Joel does. Do you know what Billy Joel does at every concert?
No.
He reserves a set of front row seats.
Right, yes, I have.
And they randomly pick somebody that's up in the rafters that has a bad seat, which kind of reminds me of what the whole hot dog idea for Phish New Year's kind of came about, right? There's going to be somebody that sits down and goes, crap. They're happy to be there, but they've got a terrible seat and they want to engage those fans. And they continuously find ways to do that. Phish, it's makes me curious about what 2021 holds.
But they do it. It's so funny. They do it in such an authentic, like, loving way. Like, it's not manipulative. It's, I actually want to do this, and I'm so grateful for you.
Yeah, agreed. Just looking back at the set from the other night from the 13th. I mean, God, from top to bottom, you're like, I don't know if that was the best show. I'm still having a tough time quantifying which is the best of the Beacon Jam so far. I loved episode 2, but I think episode 6, the most recent one, might be up there with my favorite. Yam, Sober Light, Winter Queen, Moma Dance. Did you find that when the background singers were singing, they were singing Moma Dance and not The Moment Ends? Because the official lyrics are The Moment Ends, but it sounds identical to The Moma Dance.
Mama Dance. Do we really want to have this debate right now?
I don't know. If the lyrics are The Moment Ends, though I feel wins, which is a weird line on its own. I don't know what The Moment Dance is.
So to be honest, I think on purpose they sing it ambiguously. And they toy from one to the other because you're like, wait a minute, and then you want to listen because then you want to listen again, and they say it different. You're like, what?
Yep, it's just a little inside joke. Yeah, I think you're right about that. I love it. So Kill Devil Falls. I want to just quickly talk about this because Kill Devil Falls was in my top 3 bathroom break songs from that song.
That song is killer.
That's out of it because I'm almost finished the 2009 shows. Uh-huh. And Kill Devil Falls got played a lot. Uh-huh. And when they played it on Friday night, I got excited. Uh-huh. I got that feeling and sung along and really, really dug it. Yeah. Just got back from Kill Devil Falls.
So good.
20 years later after that, I love that song. A new one in Mercy, short but sweet, only 4 minutes. Light from Joy. I love Light. Summer of '89. Summer of '89. So I was playing this show yesterday during back time, and Summer of '89 was playing when Megan came back in the room to get the girls ready to go, and she commented. She goes, "This is a really pretty song."
Yeah.
And I went, "Yeah, it really is."
Yeah, you're right.
Song I heard the ocean sing. Joy is in there. Tube. Oh, remember when I wasn't a huge fan of Tube? Didn't hate it, but just didn't really get it.
Yep.
Yeah, so good. Dancing around the room.
When you say stuff like, not a big fan of Tube or Kill Devil Falls is a bathroom break song, I just have like those quiet parenting moments, like when your kid says stupid shit and you're like, they'll figure it out, don't you worry.
Yeah, you're right. They'll get there. I guess I've gotten there maybe a bit quicker than a lot of kids do. And then ending it with Rise / Come Together, which with the background singers I think sounded awesome.
Oh, yeah,
so
sure.
Yeah, really, really great. Only 2 more to go. We've got this week and next week. Haven't played a repeat yet. What are the songs that haven't been played that you're most looking forward to hearing or hoping to hear?
I don't know, man. Slave or Hood would be really nice.
Slave or what?
Harry Hood.
Oh, Hood. I thought you said Who. And I was like, yeah, I was definitely thinking of Hood.
Slave or Hood.
Slave, yeah. Fluffhead could be interesting. Trying to think of what else. What else? The Man Who Stepped Into Yesterday could be a good one. Tila. Anything from Gamehendge would be great. Anything early would be great. And it seems to be putting 1 or 2 in each show of those classic old Phish songs that I sort of felt like are.
The old ones would be tough, right? Like, keep in mind, this is pretty cool. When Trey was writing that music, they couldn't perform it, right? Like, they actually had to teach themselves how to play the songs. Mm-hmm, so, it's something for any musician to walk into something like that.
Mm-hmm. You think we'll hear Reba?
I don't know, man. I didn't think we'd have anything live from Trey. So at this point, he pretty much said he wasn't going to do anything live. Now we have this, and I bet you we're going to get something special for New Year's.
You think so, Wayne?
Yeah.
What do you think that could be?
I'm hoping. So I think there's 2 things. I'm hoping that it's Phish to nobody, to no audience. And some people on the Reddit group have commented, and it's funny, people are complaining. I'm like, I would gladly spend a couple $100 to stay at home and watch Phish than go out and waste my money. This is so much more valuable to me.
Yep.
Or, I mean, it'll be interesting to see what happens with dinner and a movie on New Year's.
Yeah,
Like, are they going to play a
trying to think of
run?
what day of the week.
Imagine if they played a run. That would be pretty cool.
It's on a Friday night. If I'm not mistaken, New Year's this year. Nope, totally wrong. It's on a Thursday night.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter, right? They play it. They would do dinner and a movie whenever.
True.
So
true. Yeah, I mean, they could also time it out and just play a classic New Year's show and just air it at a time where 100%. The actual countdown happens at midnight. That's also a possibility.
Or what would be super fucking cool is dinner and a movie, but when midnight hits, we pan to MSG Live and the boys are actually playing.
That's something we're staying up for. My bedtime's like 10:15. I would stay up late for that one. For sure.
10:15, awesome. That's late, man. Yesterday I was asleep at 8:30. It was awesome.
Oh, yikes. You go to sleep when it's still light out in the summertime.
No, a little bit later in the summertime because the kids are up later.
Gotcha. And then, I guess let's talk a little bit about the Halloween shows. We got 3 sets, 2014's Chilling, Thrilling Sounds from the Haunted House.
Yep.
Then rewound to 1996, Remain in Light from Talking Heads.
Yep. And
then up to 2018 with iRock, Fassaplant into Rock. Fassaplant into Rock. I love that album.
Me too.
Yeah, awesome. Awesome to see that. I thought the 96 stuff looked better than I thought it was going to look. Yeah, I mean, like, you never know when they start to show videos from the 90s, what you're going to get in terms of quality. But yeah, it would have been really, really cool to be there. You could see the audience sort of get into it more and more as that set went on.
I can't believe, like, you listen to that album, Remain in the Light, you put that actual thing on, the density of the music, because there's a lot of loops and there's a lot of multiple tracks. The fact that it was 5 dudes, like they had like a percussion and they had like horns and stuff. The fact that those dudes could recreate that anywhere near or even better at times than the Talking Heads, it's just unbelievable, man. Unbelievable.
Yeah, and I think it's definitely one of those things that would be easy to take for granted if you're a Phish fan, especially around that time. It's just sort of the thing. Every year they're going to do a Halloween show, and I say this a lot, that any group or anybody that is incredibly great at something has a way, or they have a tendency to make it look easy, And I think to see how seamless they tend to come off when they're playing those cover tunes. It's just incredible. I can't think of many other bands that could pull something like that off with the frequency that they have.
I just think, to add to that, I agree. It's also amazing to me how they can do other people's songs. You know the song, it sounds great, and yet it still sounds like Phish.
Yeah, there's an unmistakable sound that they have. That's I mean, when those 4 get together, it's evident. You take any one of those 4 out, and I think I could spot that within 20, 30 seconds if I just randomly played on a track that a different drummer was on or a different bassist was on. I think I don't know. I don't probably never hear that 3 out of the 4 playing with somebody else, but for sure. It's so distinct. And I think another thing in terms of appreciation of how long it would take a band to get that sound, to get their sound. I know that's a thing that bands often struggle with when they're new, is finding their own unique sound. And Phish has evolved quite a bit from the stuff in the early days, but it's unmistakably Phish the entire time. You can't take their DNA out of it.
Well, I mean, I think we take for granted, because nobody really knows the hours actually spent practicing together.
Yeah, I get the sense that they're full days at a time, weeks at a time, where they're getting ready for a tour. And on one of the Beacon jams, Trey kind of commented that those are very much like what the rehearsals are like, just the people hanging out in the studio or wherever they are, playing their songs, and it's loose and fun. And you do definitely get that sense. But yeah, I mean, we're talking hours and hours and hours to get to that point where you're thinking on the same wavelength as somebody else, just with a eye flick or a nod of the head. Like, they talk in a different way that would take years to develop.
Well, it has,
it has. The chemistry is just amazing. Just amazing. I want to thank you, by the way, because you randomly, which show was it, 98, that you had me go back and listen to? August 4th, I want to say?
April 4th.
Oh, yeah, April 4th. Sorry, I'm thinking of 4/4/98, which was great because, again, at that point, I had been on the 2009 train. And then to sort of rewind 11 years and go back to 98, although it's a different time, it's just Yeah, 1.0 Phish. I don't know. Love it. Love it. Like, I love it.
My favorite part of that set, because that was the debut of the Mama Dance.
Right.
Right? My favorite part of that set is when they start the Mama Dance, and you can hear Trey go, yeah! Like, he's just so excited to play the song. Like, when the snare hits and the song starts, like after the and Trey's like, yeah!
Yeah. Obviously,
And
a ghost.
Brother is a killer in that set. It just sounds awesome, man.
Yes,
So
second
good.
set opens with Ghost, and I think he says something like, "This is not the single," because it's long and it's slow. Yeah, so good. It totally. And again, I can't help but when I go back and listen to those shows, I have to see the image. I have to see what they look like in '98, what the stage looked like, what they were wearing. Awesome. So yeah, I'm going to keep going back to the 1.0 shows, and hopefully they keep putting out more like they did with December 2nd, 1999. Really, really good show that I listened to the other day. Yeah, they need to get more 1.0 up. How great would it be to be able to go back and listen to every show?
Oh, dude,
good quality.
I like here's the thing. I thought a lot about this, and I'm going back and thinking about like the stuff that we talk about. It's kind of really, it wouldn't be as exciting if it was all available all the time. The fact that it comes piecemeal, and the fact that dinner and a movie is like, oh my God, what's it going to be this time? Versus, hey, pay us $100 a month. Here's all the shows for forever.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like it's like the excitement of, it's not the same, but it's in the same vein of, hey, we're going to a Phish show. I wonder what's going to happen.
Right. Yeah. I wish they would release a little bit more. You know,
of course, me too.
Well, yeah, I just want to get a bigger taste. Yeah, because really, when you look at, if I look at the amount of shows that are available and say, let's pick a year from 1.0. I'm going to say 99. In 99, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 shows. Right. 98, you've got a little bit more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. You know, versus every other year since 2002, you're getting every single show. I just think it'd be great, and to go deeper. And when I read on threads about the best tweezer or the best whatever, if that show isn't on the app, it's tougher to find, and it's tougher to hear all the detail and all the goodness out of a soundboard recording versus those fans in the stands with the mics, who, you know what, were completely. I mean, I don't want to take anything away from those people, because that helps the spread of Phish. Like in the early days, those tapers, just like the Grateful Dead, just like so many other countless bands, those tapers and allowing them to tape really helped the band like that spread the word. You know, so it's great that those recordings exist and definitely, you know, birthed a lot of the culture that we know. But I prefer hearing it in great quality sound, to be honest.
So the guy that does, I don't know if you have Sirius Radio or not, but the guy that does the archiving for the Dead on the Dead radio, on the Dead Sirius radio station, he's a PhD in archiving.
Huh. Wow. Jeez, you can get a PhD in archiving?
Yeah, I don't know what's required, and I'm probably misconstruing what the actual title is. But like the level of depth that this man has about the music, it's staggering.
We should get him to archive our podcast, and we should hire an archiver.
so valuable, all 16 episodes.
15,
my bad.
16 is next week.
My bad.
All right, man. So give me something to listen to over the next week. Is there a show that you'd recommend that I should be checking out?
I'm still back in 98, so I took a pause to go to 99 to hear the show that was up. I loved it. I love that my wife listened to the show before I did, and then like told me like, yeah. Oh yeah.
That's a new one.
I got a text. I'll post it. I got a text from her. She's like, mark this day on the calendar. I'm actually putting on a Phish set by myself at home.
Really? And what did she have to say? Like, did she talk about any highlights, any of her favorite parts that you then saw and also resonated with? Was it that kind of a?
So the set that I was referring to, she heard Reba from Denver in 97 or 98. The one where the first set is Tweezer, Reba, Ghost, and they close with Fire. I think that's from 98 or 97.
From Denver?
Yeah.
It would be. It's not 97.
Get a 98. Probably.
So let's see. Okay.
I never get
Oregon,
the
Rhode
days
Island.
right. I'm not that specific.
Nothing in Colorado from either 97 or 98 on the app.
Okay, now
Could it be,
you're
could it be 96?
now I'm getting pissed. Now I have to check.
Might be 99.
No.
Let's see. Weird. But yeah, that's a big achievement. And she's independently seeking it out on her own without you around. That's a pretty big leap.
Yeah, hold on. I'm gonna find this one, Adam.
I'm
November the 17th, 97, man.
Oh, the hell am I looking
Exactly. So I'm not that out of it. So she heard Reba on Sirius Radio, and she went home and she put on the set. Like she listened. She was building IKEA furniture for the boys. So she played the whole show and loved the whole show. The low lights for her were Jesus Just Left Chicago, and the other one that she didn't like that much. I think that was really the only one that was like a low point. She doesn't like those slow Texas bluesy songs.
Is that right? Yeah, I could see that. I mean, it takes a little bit to grow on you. Wow.
It's a good show, man.
It's listed on here. There's filler. What exactly is filler? There's a 28-minute Wolfman's Brother listed as filler on that show.
That's the encore.
But there's encore, and then what? They came in after the encore and did 40 minutes?
Actually, that's interesting. I just always thought that Wolfman's Brother was the encore.
And then there's Makasupa Policeman. That's nearly 11 minutes too. Huh. Wow.
Anyways,
I gotta listen to that show. I don't think I've listened to that show.
It's a good show. The Tweezer's awesome. It's all moody. It's just awesome, man. It's so good.
That might be my drive home tonight. So there it is.
Yeah, so I'm back in 97. And Rochelle and I are listening to the Baker's Dozen. She's really familiar with like the older songs because she's heard a lot of the older songs. But now that there's a lot of volume, I forget how many songs these guys have written like between 1.0 and 3.0, man. Like they play like an older song in 3.0. You're like, oh my God, I haven't heard this song in forever.
Yeah, so prolific. I mean, it's crazy. Yeah, you're right. I mean, you could do shows on net of just one generation, or even just shows on covers, and just like the catalog is huge, absolutely huge. All right, cool. Well, that's great that she's at that point. That's awesome. That's awesome. I gotta work
20
on that.
years, buddy. 20 years.
Yeah.
From plugging.
I've only been at it a year.
From plugging her ears when we went to go see them in 2016.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
like they played Mound, right? So when we went in 2016, so she's pregnant with her second. We'll get her on here. We'll start talking about this stuff. And she's standing there, and I'm like, this one might not sound the best to you because it's got that transition from 6/8 timing to 4/4 timing, right? Or I can't remember. Yeah. And I'm like, and I look over, and she's like,
Yeah, I remember hearing that song for the first time when you loaned me the Riff CD.
Yeah.
It was the CD that I ever listened to at that point, way back in the late 90s. And I remember that song playing tricks on my brain.
I was like, this is so cool, man.
It was tough.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But again, you appreciate that musicianship and the fact that
it sounds awesome. Like it really sounds awesome.
Surely does. All right, man. Yeah, I'll definitely be listening to 11/17/97 tonight. We'll chat about that a little bit more maybe next week.
Sounds good, man.
Anything else from you, my friend?
I'm good, dude.
All right, man. Thanks.